When you think about a champion for Florida agriculture, Paul DiMare is the leader of the pack. He is relentless, he is courageous, he knows his stuff, and he's a street fighter. You want to be on Paul DiMare's side.
He's been involved in agriculture over 60 years, starting back in the late 50s when he came to work for the company for his dad back in Boston. And then he migrated down into South Florida in the early 60s and got involved in the farming in the Homestead area. He's just so passionate on everything that relates, to our industry. He's always felt very strongly about dedication to research. We're always, as growers, faced with so many different challenges environmentally, with continually new pests and diseases coming along all the time. If we can work collaboratively with the University of Florida and the experts, the researchers there, and look to resolve and remedy some of these issues, that was going to be a benefit to not only the industry but our company. Without us as industry supporting them, it becomes more challenging for them to address issues and the needs that we have as growers, in this state.
Paul DiMare created an endowment for IFAS, and the funds actually went to the Gulf Coast Research and Education Center, which allowed us to hire a second tomato breeder to help the tomato industry in developing new varieties.
I don't think my position would have been possible without that endowment. At any breeding program in the world, when a new breeder comes on, they really don't know the germplasm that they have to work with. And so it really established an extra tomato breeding position. And Jay Scott was here formally as the tomato breeder. And then for those last few years before he retired, we worked side by side here running the breeding program. So I really had a grasp on the germplasm that was available, what I could do with it, where improvements needed to be made. And so with the second position, it basically allowed us to double down on our efforts, to push even harder to get varieties out, to get better varieties out, and to get improved traits into our germplasm. There's not very much consistent funds these days. So the nice thing about the endowment is it's a set amount of funding that's been given, and the interest off of that money, off that account, is what funnels down into my program on a yearly basis, actually a quarterly basis. And so I've got recurring funds coming in every year that I can use. I know I can count on these.
It would have been very easy for someone like Paul just to take that money and hire his own breeder to help him personally, but he didn't do that. He wanted to help the industry as a whole, and he's spent his whole career trying to help the tomato industry in Florida to be successful.
I remember Paul saying he didn't want to do something just for himself. He wanted something that would be for the industry as a whole.
I'm still very bullish on the future of agriculture in Florida, and it's because we have strong, dedicated leaders, industry leaders like Paul DiMare. It's because we have innovation coming out of our land grant system, coming out of the University of Florida, that's allowing us to adapt to a rapidly changing marketplace.
It's been an honor working with Paul DiMare over the past 20 years. He is a true legend to the tomato industry.
Paul's really the only hardcore hurricane fan I know who's compatible with gators. And he has been tireless in his support on the research side, the extension side, and the on-campus work here at the university.
I can't imagine trying to run my breeding program without that, without the support. And I hope that they really do see the benefits of it down the road.
I only hope that as third generation, or my brothers and cousins hopefully feel the same way, that we can carry that torch, and continue to lead by example through dedication, through loyalty that my dad has had in the industry through all these years.